What's going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I have a full review to do for you guys on the Vosteed Corsair. So this is in on loan via the Lefty passaround. I've had this for a few weeks, probably a little bit more than what I should have had it for, so I'm ready to do my full review on it, and I think it's going to be a pretty positive review. I signed up for this. I didn't really have too much expectations going into it. Like, I've handled a few Vosteed products before. I've owned a few, and I know they make good quality budget knives. So I knew that the fit and finish and the materials and the price point, everything like that baked into one was going to be, good, and I was going to enjoy it that way. But like, the design didn't exactly blow me away. I like the blade shape and stuff like that, but like, it just wasn't one of those ones where I went like, wow, I need to buy that or I need to check that out. But I saw Kevin throw it up on the pass round, and I figured, it was worth checking out. I like Vosteed stuff, and it definitely surprised me. The Axis style lock in general, this is the first one I've handled from Vosteed. It took me a minute because they also make raccoons in crossbar locks now. When I had my raccoon in, it was the button lock version, but now they make them in a Axis style or crossbar lock model. But this is the first one that I've handled from Vosteed, and it's good. Like, it probably has the best spring tension on a crossbar lock style knife that I've ever handled. So that's some dust in there. That's some really high praise in my opinion, and I think they did a really good job with that. But like I said, this is sent in via Lefty Passaround Group. There are 4 different versions you can buy, and of course, they will be linked down below in the description directly to Vosteed's site if you guys are interested. Definitely go check them out. They're all the same price, which we'll talk about later in the video. But the 4 different versions you can get, seems like they're all micarta versions. So you can get a black micarta version, a green micarta version with PVC, looks like a dark stonewash or a PVD coated blade, a blue micarta, and of course this brown micarta. And they all look like they have stonewash blades except for the green micarta that has the either really dark stonewash or black stonewash or a PVD coated blade. And the black micarta has, so it shows on the website that this brown micarta one has a satin or stonewash pivot collar, but the obviously it has one on here, but on the website it doesn't show that, so it's kind of interesting. But yeah, so getting right into materials, kind of continuing the theme. Of course, like I said, this is a brown micarta version. You have a crossbar lock, you have dual thumb studs on both sides, you have a loop over style deep carry clip that kind of goes close to the butt end of the knife. I feel like they could have kind of moved that back just a little bit just to get that little extra bit in your pocket, but it's, it carries well. Vosteed clips tend to work pretty well, so no complaints there. You do have this brass or bronze pivot collars. You have the 3 lines there for a, it works a little bit in the grip department, but it's also sort of just an aesthetic for it as well. Overall, decently thin knife. It's kind of right in the middle. Nothing to brag about, but it's definitely not thick. In the same vein, you guys can see those. The crossbar lock definitely pokes out a little bit, which I like. I like when you get a lot of grip on being able to, disengage your lock. You have a Nitro V blade. My phone will focus. Nitro V and then Corsair. You have a nice sort of, it's more of a spear point than a drop point, kind of a combination, but I really like the blade. I think it looks good. I like the way it juts out from the handle right there. You have a little bit of a poon right here, Vosteed. So the blade shape is really handsome looking in my opinion. I really like that. There is internal milling on both sides. You have 3 milling pockets out on the liners in there, which you guys might be able to see. Blade length is 3.25 inches. I will get the weight for you really quickly. 2.91 ounces, so less than 3 ounces on this, which is really nice, and it feels very lightweight. Of course, you have that micarta, you have the milling going on the inside. So that's a pretty good weight for a 3 1/4 inch blade, I think. Definitely, don't have any complaints at all there, which is very nice. But yeah, like a kind of a high polished stone wash, which I like a little bit. It's kind of classy, but also it hides, marks. It's sort of a worker's finish a little bit. I like the combination of the two. But I believe that's all for, well, hold on. Forgot one thing. It is a flat grind. Comes down to a nice thin edge. Blade stock, thickness is, I'd say, right in the middle of the road, you know, kind of medium, kind of nothing, again, similar to handle, nothing to brag about, but definitely nothing to complain about either. So it comes down to a nice thin edge. You have a nice amount of belly right there for slicing and stuff like that. So it's really nice. But yeah, so that's all for materials. We're going to jump into action next. Now the action on this is pretty good. Like I said, this is probably the biggest, you know, surprise for me with this knife is the amount of spring tension that you have on the access style lock or the crossbar lock, whatever you want to call it. Because that's been a thing for years with, you know, Benchmade, and then once Benchmade, their patent ran out on the access lock, where other companies picked it up and started making it their own. Like you have Kaiser with the clutch lock. I think Hogue has the Able lock, and different knives or different companies are making their own versions of it. Although it's all pretty much the same. Vosteed. So a lot of the times with crossbar lock knives, it's just you don't have any sort of detent, which, I mean, you guys can see it kind of just flops out, but it has a lot of tension to it. So that makes for deploying it, like you don't really have a whole lot of, and obviously this, you know, it's still not the best in my opinion, or the greatest action in the world. But for a crossbar style lock knife, I think it's pretty good. Obviously you can, you know, fail the lock just by kind of flicking out. And that's because you don't have a detent ball and, you know, so on and so forth. You guys all know this. I don't need to explain it to you. But you pull it out of your pocket, you give it some gas, it flicks right open. And the biggest thing for me that surprised me was when you went to disengage it, it gave a lot of, you know, resistance, which is not usual. Usual access style lock knives or crossbar, you know, lock knives, you don't have a whole lot of resistance back here. But with the Corsair, you do, which is really nice. It just makes it feel a little bit more premium, a little bit more refined, you know, I guess you could say. But thumb flick works well. Middle finger flick works well. You can slow roll it. You can index finger flick it, and you know you can do the button. No, not the button lock dance. I'm used to Kevin doing that in his videos. He doesn't do it as much anymore, but you can do the crossbar lock dance. But I don't know who, I always say this when I review knives like this, I don't know who is going to pull out their knife and flick it open like this in public. You know, just casually do it like that, or like, as I disengage it, like that. I will say when you're using it, the handle, the way it's shaped is on an angle right there. So when I have it in the palm of my hand like this, and I go to pull down on it, it does like want to kind of slip a little bit just due to how the handle is shaped in my hand. It's very smooth. Maybe a little bit of jimping back there or a little bit different handle shape would have made that a little bit better, because you just have to, you know, I almost take or most of the times I take my other fingers and sort of lock on here to the pocket clip to kind of get a little bit more, you know, leverage and a little bit more position on the knife, so that way it doesn't slip out of my hands when I drop it. But it's nice, smooth, no blade play. You pull it down, and it basically, a nice thing about the crossbar lock knives is once you get used to it, you can pull it down and let it go at the right time, and it basically just, as you know, I mess up there, but basically just sucks the blade in, which is really kind of fun to fidget with. But overall action is good on this knife. You know, thumb stud action is always fun to play with. And I don't love crossbar lock knives. I don't have a ton of them in my collection, but I can definitely appreciate a good one. And whenever you get a good one that comes across your table or, you know, across your collection, it is nice and fun to fidget with. So I can definitely, you know, applaud them for that. And again, I have no complaints with the action department. So next up is ergos. So this is not a huge knife. Again, you have a 3.25 inch blade. So overall length, I think I saw was like 7.4, 7.5 inches. With the handle, I can just get 4 fingers on here, but I don't feel cramped or anything like that, which is nice. I feel, you know, pretty solid on the handle. You can sort of use this as a choke up point, but you do have the tip of the blade right there. So I would be very careful when doing this. You have to be very precise if you're, you know, cutting around something, or you could use this for push cuts through cardboard. You just have to kind of make sure you're aware of where that edge of the blade is, which is, you know, common for some knives, but I think it's primarily used to be held back here, because you do have the jimping up top there. My thumb lands right on it. Very comfortable. I almost lost my train of thought there. Very comfortable in a saber grip. Hammer grip is comfortable. You can switch it around if you have to do some self-defense action going on. Probably not your best option with this knife, but you know, I'd like to point that out anyways. Micarta has a really nice feel to it. You can tell it's decent micarta. It is a little bit dry just because I haven't carried this a ton, and I know it is a pass-around knife, but you can tell it still has a little bit of white to it, so it's not like fully saturated with, you know, oils and, you know, different things that you get by when, you know, carrying the knife in the real world. I've only carried this a few different times, and I think since I've had it for so long, I've done more fidgeting with it and cutting with it in the house and carrying with it, because I got it in, carried it a few days, and then moved on to other stuff that I've had in the collection or come across for loaners. But, you know, ergos are good. Pot clip does stick a little bit up proud of the knife, but that's, you know, I'm pretty used to Vosteed clips, and they're not bad at all. You can definitely feel it, but unless you're just like gripping this knife in a death grip, you're not gonna, you know, feel it too much, or it's not gonna bother you that much, which is nice. No really sharp edges or anything like that, except for back here, but that is more of, you know, when you're holding the knife like that to disengage it. So overall, you know, similar to Action, no complaints. You know, it's good ergos, nice, comfortable in the hand. You know, nice size knife, so I like it. But we're gonna move on next to carry. And this carries really well. You know, I did mention earlier, I think the pot clip could have been, you know, lifted up a little bit up here and just gotten a little bit extra space to be sitting in the pocket, because I'm always game for that. But you can switch at lefty or righty, which is very nice. Of course, the pot clip sits countersunk, or it's sunk into the scales with countersunk screws. So you have a nice even keel experience right there when you're sliding it into your pocket. But it's under 3 ounces. It's a nice, you know, medium-sized knife. Drops into your pocket, carries very well. You have no flipper tab or jimping on this side to risk, you know, catching your hand on if you're down in your pocket getting change, medicine, you know, anything like that I typically like to mention to you guys. You guys probably, you guys that watch my videos know I always mention that, but I just like to, because, you know, that's real world stuff, and I just like to hit kind of all the bases. But it sits down in your pocket very well. I've carried this in gym shorts. I've carried this in khakis, and no complaints at all with even just tossing in the pocket. Like I said, under 3 ounces is a fantastic weight, especially for a, you know, 3.25 inch blade. So again, very on par with how this whole review has gone so far. It's, you know, no complaints from me. I think it's very good. The weight might be the best thing with this knife. It's just, I don't want to say the best thing, but it's a huge positive for this knife. Being under 3 ounces is a huge win, in my opinion. And again, that micarta with the internal milling definitely helped that out. But it is finally time for my final category of price point and what I recommend this knife. So you can get this knife for $69 and no cents on Vosteed's website, which will be linked, like I said, down below. If you guys are interested, definitely go check them out. It seems like they're all in stock, so that's good. I'm sure you could check a retailer like White Mountain Knives to see if you can get maybe a 10% discount on there using someone's code like Lefty10. You know, everybody in the knife community basically has a White Mountain Knives code, so use your favorite YouTuber's code to get some money off if they are in stock there. But I think 69 bucks for this knife is a pretty good price. You know, I think Vosteed has really sort of come to live in that $50 to $100 range. Of course, they have some more premium stuff, you know, 1 to 150. And they just came out with that titanium like compression lock knife for like $250. But I think they have some really, really, really good models in that, you know, 50, even $60 to $100 range. And I think that this is fitting in very well with them. You know, you have a Nitro V blade, nice usable blade shape. It's probably my favorite thing about this knife is how the blade shape is. Micarta is nice, has a good fit and finish to it. Loop over style deep carry clip. Really nice access style lock knife for being, you know, they're a newer company, so they don't have a whole lot of experience with access style lock knives that I know of, but this one really feels great. You know, it operates great, has a sort of good detent to it. Ergos are good. So all around, I think this is a, you know, a good price. I can recommend this to you any day of the week. If you guys basically like this, I say it like this a lot of the times. If you like the design, then I'm going to tell you to go buy it, because you're going to like the materials, you're going to like the price point, you're going to like the ergos, you're going to like the action. That stuff I can all recommend to you. So if you like the way this knife looks and you're drawn to it aesthetically, definitely go pick one of these up. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think you'll be enjoying what the Vosteed Corsair can do for you. So, but yeah, leave a comment down below. What are your guys' thoughts on the Corsair, and what are your guys' thoughts on Vosteed as a company in general. I think they've come out with some bangers in their short lifetime. I think they've only been a company for really like maybe a year or two that I know of or that I can think about. So definitely leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear what you have to say, and I'd love responding to your guys' comments. It's one of my favorite things to do on the channel. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up now. So this was my full review of the Vosteed Knives Corsair. Huge shout out to Kevin over at Lefty EDC for letting me check this out and letting everyone else in the passaround check it out. Love you, Kevin. And I love you guys too. So thank you again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, morning, evening, night, whenever you're watching this. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.